Well, that was kind of interesting. Well, these live streams are kind of thrown together a lot on especially on Mondays because we're coming back from visiting my in-laws' house, and her father is, of course, still grieving, and it takes a little time for us to get through traffic. So I apologize. Um, Hope everybody's doing well tonight. Uh, I want to throw out a big shout out to Tube Crime. He really promoted my channel on his stream. I encourage you to go over there and watch his live streams and his other streams. He went and down to the motel for where Morphew Tube Crime. Yes, he went. I see you there. He went down to the motel where Barry had stayed down there in near Bloomingfield, I think it was, and he did a great report from there. Kudos, big time kudos for doing that. Having feet on the ground, and that was really good. And I appreciate the Draper brothers also. They actually did a little promo for me, promoted the channel too, and I really thank you for doing that. A lot of times you get kind of Plunder has also brought my channel out, and it's really done a lot of good. You just don't see that a lot in other businesses and other type of things where other people that have channels promote someone else's channel, and that is really I just can't tell you how thankful I am that we have a great group of video creators that are trying to get their channels off the ground, and also are really promoting each other. And I really appreciate it. But tonight I want to start out. I'm going to address some things that very more few at the end of this broadcast. But since I haven't featured anybody else but Barry the last couple of days, I wanted to feature a missing person case. This is out of my home state of Alabama. This girl actually went missing back about 22 years ago, but it's such a strange disappearance that I feel like that I'd like to feature her tonight, and just take a little break from all the more few things that's going on. And since this is a missing channel, I want to at least feature somebody, unless we have a true break in the case on the Suzanne Morphew case. Hold on one second. Try to shut this door here. I apologize for that. But this room that I'm doing this in is I really got to clean it up. This case is involving Tracie. This is not the best picture in the world. This is Tracie Kegley. A little bit about this story is she was going through a divorce. In fact, she just actually had her divorce final 16 days before she went missing. She had gotten a new job she was in Elmore County, and it's basically around the Wetumpka area. She was going to have a new job in Montgomery, like starting the day after she went missing. She had her child in the car with her in a car seat, and she stopped to wash her car at a convenience store. And now I'm going to show you just the area of the map. Now this is not 22 years ago, but this is the area. And so I would imagine back then that a lot of this stuff was not even there. It might have just been a car wash and a convenience store, but it was a car wash. And in fact, her parents actually think that she was abducted at this car wash. So I don't know. I was trying to find a picture of that car wash at Wetumpka. And you got to understand, Wetumpka is just a southern city just north of Montgomery. It's just a little small city. Currently, they have an in casino there, and the area is built up because all of the people that want to flee the crime and everything in the capital city of Montgomery. And so they live in Wetumpka, Prattville, and just little towns surrounding that. But here's the weird thing about this case. Her car was found about 18 miles away. I think it is 14 minutes away. I'll show you another on the map here. This is the two routes that you could get to where her car was found. It's 18 minutes away. And the way I understand it is, it was north of where of the location that she was at. This is another picture of how rural, even to this day, that area is real rural. It said it was parked in front of a T&H or something like that store, which would have been maybe a little country, not really grocery store, but maybe a country convenience store. Although it's kind of confusing because that road is actually, it looks like a dead end. But here's the kicker in the whole situation. She had her daughter in the back seat of the car. Her daughter was found, or her child, I think it was a girl, was found in the car seat, and she was not. She was missing. And here's what you think. Well, everybody thinks, well, and what I thought, it had to be the ex-husband did it. Got mad, and I couldn't find any information on him at all. He maybe got mad, but would he leave his child in the car overnight? It was about 8 hours, 9 hours before the car was found. The last time she was seen at this car wash, and then the car was found like 8 hours later. You know, would she leave? Yeah, you think it's a husband, but I could not leave my child, and I'm talking about a child young enough to be in a car seat. I couldn't leave my child in a car all night on an abandoned road out there in the middle of nowhere in April in the South. You got to think, April in the South is still pretty warm, especially if I don't know exactly what time it was. She was at this car wash, but they estimated it was about 8 hours. Now, sure, it does cool off at night, even in the South a little bit, but in April, it's probably in the 70s or 60s. It's probably in the 70s or 80s in April, even at night. Now, would you do that? But then I got to thinking, well, they didn't have to. They don't know exactly when the car was dropped off. So somebody could have kept the child somewhere, put them back in the car, drove it out there, but they had nothing, no evidence, no DNA in the car, nothing in the car. And the fact that they did leave the child there and take her, do something with her, you know, it does. Everybody I thought of that I talked about and read about said they thought it was the husband. Apparently he was cleared. There's a thing called the Charlie Project. I don't know if y'all are aware of that. They basically feature missing person cases and just put all the stuff that you can think of and, you know, need to know about the case. But this has actually been updated 3 times since her disappearance. It happened April 26th of 1998. So it's well, no, that's not correct. See, because somebody's saying it was be 2000. Yeah, that's right. That's 22 years ago. Elmore County. It's a weird thing about Elmore County, Alabama. I guess so. The proximity to Montgomery does put a lot of crime out there, but there's about 4 or 5 cases of missing people. Unsolved cases of missing people in Elmore County. There's a mother and a son, 12-year-old son that came up missing, and then there's another girl. But those, it tend to be more domestic type relations on one of the 2 of them. That's why I didn't feature them. But she had a 1993 Geostorm was discovered abandoned down old Georgia road, and it's a secluded rural road. But it goes and it says about this. It was one reason why I think it could be somebody that wanted the baby found pretty quick, even 8 hours later, is because it was left near an establishment, where somebody would see that car and walk out there and, want to check it. But just a very strange situation. I know that the ex-husband would be a suspect, if you would think it would be a suspect. I remember this case. So I remember when it came on the news, they found her purse and her driver's license. If I remember correctly, they found those on the ground outside her car, which it was kind of like I thought she was taken not at the car wash. I actually thought she was taken from the car. And that very well could have been, because I don't think they found any DNA inside the car of anybody else. They had no suspects for a long period of time. And then they had an anonymous tip, the police did. And this led to the largest search ever done to this date for a missing person in Alabama. They had state police, they had county, they had surrounding cities, they had all kinds of volunteer people. But I want to show you this is too on one of the sites I found. This is actually some of the billboards they had. They also had an area around where the car was found that they searched, and this was the car too. So you imagine a baby in a car seat for however long it was, and since the last time she was seen was like 8 or 9, 10 hours. So it's just that makes me think it's not the husband because of the ex-husband, because would you leave your child? I can't imagine leaving my child in a car in April, or even a rural area. I mean, the police said when they found the child that, like, the diaper's wet. It appears it was left there for 8 hours. It doesn't appear that somebody just brought it back to them in the last hour or two. It was actually like a baby had been in the car like that long. I don't know how they could tell, but maybe because it had been crying, maybe it had a soiled diaper, maybe it had, who knows? I don't know. I just can't imagine a baby. Of course, they don't remember the fear. At least they're not supposed to remember the fear of being in a locked vehicle or a vehicle out there for 8 hours. I don't know if it's locked or not, but a vehicle for 8 hours. Now, let's see if I can remember to read this exactly when this was. But the police actually received an anonymous tip, and even though it was like, I want to say it was like 2019, if I remember correctly, and near Tallahassee, which is I think it's a area of Elmore County, a more secluded area of Elmore County. The sheriff, this is where they did this huge search. They actually searched a 300-acre, and the way I understand it is it was like a deer farm. If you know what those are in the South, they'll have farms that are set up. Let me see here. Let's see, report on Kelsey disappeared 2015. Yeah, 2015. I'm sorry. They have a deer farm where they put these like 15 feet high fences with razor wire on top of the deer. Deer can jump about an 8 or 10 foot fence. But it's been, at that time, it was 20 years since the disappearance. And they searched it. They got a search warrant for this farm because they heard that there's some evidence from this crime in the pond. It's a big, huge pond out there. So they searched the pond, and they did find out that they find something, find something. Now, she, like it says in here, she was a phlebotomist, so she's a pretty educated lady. Uh, and I don't know. I haven't been able to find out any reason, why she got divorced, whatever. They gave her a description of her, but this long, you can pretty much say that everybody believes that she is deceased, of course. This is another article on this. Justice Doesn't Sleep is the name of the article out of the Montgomery Advertiser. And basically, it talks about her disappearance and how the car, the Geo, was found a few miles north of Wetumpka. 2-year-old daughter, I thought that was right. 2-year-old daughter unharmed in the vehicle. But everything that I read about it was all indications the child had been there for at least 8 hours. That's what I did. It indicated. And then it goes on to show they searched the area with helicopters. They searched with dogs. They searched with all kinds of personnel on the ground. They searched with divers. And potential evidence was found on the last day in a piece of the puzzle, they're calling it. But now the sheriff and them got on. This is her parents there. They said that was probably the most hardest thing they did since the disappearance, because they were just waiting for some type of evidence to be found. It was a 350-acre deer farm. And a deer farm is kind of a misnomer, really. What they do is they section off a large amount of acreage. They put these high fences up, and they basically stock the place with deer. It's not tame deer now. They are like, they'll put several big bucks, several does in there, and they'll want them to breed, basically to build up the herd to some major sized deer. And then they'll charge people to go hunt there. That's all it amounts to. They'll put and there won't be like 100 people out there, maybe only 5 people out there, but they know they've got some huge buck in that area to hunt. Or they could be selling the deer too to other big areas that farm, like they have 20,000 acre places that these people hunt at. Go through this a little bit. Her personal belongings, her purse identification were all found at the scene. And that was the best I can recall that was outside of the vehicle. That's why I remember thinking at the time, you remember in your mind about things that are going on. But I remember thinking at the time, well, her ex-husband probably cornered her out there, and they had a fight, and her stuff was outside the vehicle, and that was it. But at the time, I didn't remember anybody saying they had a child in the car. So that was what was kind of got me just going over some of the stuff here. I wanted to show you what this says here. See that this area, somebody talks, this is on the Charlie Project, talking that it's intersection of 231 and Redland Road in Elmore County during the afternoon. So if she was last seen in the afternoon and the child was found in the car next morning, that child could have been in that car for over 18 hours. That's pretty bad in itself. And see here, the numbers of the search were eye-opening. 32 miles were flown by drones, 2,200 drone photos, 137 points of interest found, 137 dog miles walked, 1,551 human miles walked, 169 cell phones issued to the search team. So basically, that's something like what Andy Morphune's talking about. They issued, and I don't know if he's going to issue. Well, I think they're going to coordinate some search with cell phones where they actually grid search with cell phones. All the dog teams, 6 private companies donated majority of the time and equipment used to top law enforcement agencies. How awesome all these people to come together, and hopefully it sounds like it was very promising. 20 years later, that's amazing. Let's hope we don't have to do that. Something doesn't happen in the Suzanne Morphew case like this. This talks about they asked him in a press conference, the DA and the sheriff, if anybody should be worried. Now, apparently, they do have suspects in this case. They will not say who those suspects are. And he says, one day we're going to get that one little piece of the puzzle that we can go to the district attorney's office and say, aha, we can jump and run with it. This is Franklin, the sheriff said that. And then we got a good suspect that we can go ahead and try to get an indictment together and put this before the court. And then basically that's anything they do, they're going to have to probably get an indictment on. And one thing I read and heard about this case, and I tried to copy it where I could show you, but my internet was not the greatest in the world this weekend. We were up in Tennessee. But the DA said this, and this applies back for the Susan Morphew case. He said, we don't have to have a body to prosecute these people. We don't have to have the body. We just got to know that a body exists. We got to be able to prove that there's a body. In other words, that the evidence should be so overwhelming that anybody believed that a body that the person they're looking into has died, and that is buried or gone somewhere. But you can imagine the parents, 20 something years their daughter has been missing, and the fact that the actual their at least the grandchild is still alive. But that's I would like to know, because I tried to find the husband's information and it was almost impossible. I don't know why that was, and that if the daughter in fact was living with him now. I do want to touch on something with this case. It just seems like there was AL.com's a local thing that they report on all things news in all things news. And they even wrote an article as why hasn't this case been solved? Why hadn't more news about this case come up? And I don't know. It's almost like it's it was forgotten about. Somebody asked me a question here. Oh, I guess I don't know why I keep hitting that. I'm trying to find where. Yeah, me too. Yeah, their daughter would be a grown woman right now. That's for sure. And we don't know. I mean, 2 years old. It's impossible that they remember anything. Surely, maybe subconsciously they would, but I don't know. Listen, I got some mail, and of course, I got the usual hate, a little bit of the hate mail. I think that comes with it when you got nearly 3,000 subscribers, and I thank every one of you for doing that and subscribing, and I hope that you will continue to share. My goal by the end of the year is 5,000 subscribers, and like I said, it's not about getting a lot of subscribers on YouTube. It is the more people we have, the more chances we have of sharing something that's going to lead to the discovery of somebody. That's true. But one of the main complaints that I had, and I actually had 2 or 3 people comment on this, they said, man, just get to the point. Just get to the point. Don't beat around the bush. Or when you're talking, you sometimes go over here and try to answer questions over here instead of expressing your point. But I don't want to be rude. If I see a question come up, sometimes I will stop and I'll direct that question. I do apologize for that. And that maybe that is a point that I need to address more, you know. Oh well, people gonna hate. You know what I'm saying? Haters gonna hate. I don't know. Uh, I don't. The suspects on this case, actually, they do have suspects, but they're not naming them. Whether it may be the ex-husband, even it may be. It may be. Sorry about that. It may be that the fact that there are other suspects. I would think there would have to be somebody that does not care for the daughter. I mean, sure, they don't want to kill the daughter. They don't want the daughter to be, because he'd kill a child. I mean, a lot of people have no problem doing that to an adult, but the child, the thing with a child. But I can't see the father being involved with the child, leaving it in a car overnight in a deserted area in April in Alabama. And I'm talking about pretty much middle Alabama south, more like. In April itself in Alabama, at night even, you're probably going to be in the 70s. I don't think in the car shut like that with the door shut, you theoretically could be in the 80s. And if she would have disappeared that afternoon, you might have some serious issues with the heat, that long. I just don't see the dad doing that. But now we don't know how long the car was there. They're assuming the last time she was seen at that. They don't know if she went somewhere else and then she got out on the road and maybe got, we can just hope that it wasn't that long. Okay. But I'm new at this still, and I make some mistakes, and I just ask you to bear with me on those mistakes. If you see a better way that I can do this, listen, I'm open to suggestions. Somebody said I disagreed with somebody on the last stream, and they thought I got mad about it. I'm not mad about it. This is what this is all about, where you come together as a group in hopes to maybe develop some leads towards cases, whether it's this case or it's other cases I've worked in, told about in Florida or anywhere else, and that includes the Susan Morphew case.
Someone asked about
Thank you.
possibly getting the daughter on the show.
The daughter.
Yeah, the daughter.
Yeah, it would be nice to try to get the daughter. I know somebody brought it in. Thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. I appreciate the encouragement. Listen, if you don't think it's encouragement, after some of I told my wife last night, I said, I think I'm going to start copying all these emails I get that really they're plain ugly. And I'm just going to delete the cuss words out of it and just save it. And we'll take a night one day and we'll look at them and just laugh about it. But anyway, it would be nice to get the daughter. I don't know how easy that would be. I'm having, like I said, there's no information at all about who the daughter is. Yeah, I 100% agree. When I have Stop apologizing. Just talk the way you talk. Half a brain can follow. Yeah, okay. I've always said that, you can be nice to people and everything, but if you're kind to people, that actually what matters the most. Kindness. We could use a lot more kindness in this world.
I like Lori.
Huh?
I like Lori.
Yeah. But anybody have any questions about this case? A case from Gunnersville? Tabitha, if you can email me that case in Gunnersville, I'd really like to. I'd be interested in seeing it.
She's asking you if this is a case from Hunt, not from Gunnersville.
No. This is not the case from Gunnersville. This came out of Elmore County, around Wetumpka, Alabama. I've looked at several cases. There's a case in Boaz, Alabama that happened about 30 years ago, but there's almost zero information about it. The girl was last seen, talking to a guy in a white pickup truck, and that was it. Nobody's seen or heard from her since. I've thought about doing that one, but there's really nothing to tell. I don't know the suspects in this case. Sheriff and the DA is being tight-lipped about it. He said there are suspects. But I'm going to tell you how that is. If you want to generate suspects, sometimes if you want to generate leads and generate informants and generate stuff, then you put it out there that you do have suspects, even if you really don't, because then if there's multiple people involved, one person might think, you know what, this is a death penalty case, or I'm going to be the one that makes the deal before any of the other people. So that may be the case back in, I think it was 2015, that they actually looked in the river.
Look at Linnell Bennett's. Look what she put on there. That's her sister.
Linnell Bennett, okay.
Linnell Bennett.
Chapman Division, Missouri. She was my sister. Okay. What? I tell you what, if you, Miss Bennett, if you will send me an email about this case, I would love to talk to you and them, anybody involved in this, see if we can put it out there. Its email is the missing livestream at gmail.com. In fact, I kind of made a banner on that. Let me see here. Right there. It's streaming at the bottom. The missing live stream at gmail.com. If you have anybody has any information on anything, missing person, want to send me a suggestion how I can do a better job, send me hate mail. It does not matter. I do read all of it. And I do read everybody's comments. I try to read them all. I might not get to read them in one day, but I do get to read them.
Ask Linnell.
What? I don't know. Somebody's writing a question here. Yeah, the.
Ask her, Linnell, if her sister's body was found. There was something on the news about that.
Linnell, was your sister's recovered, or was she found murdered? I only do missing people right now because if we get into the crime itself, unless there's absolutely no indication that the suspect, I would love to try to help you find somebody, but suspects, but a lot of times that cases you can actually do something to hurt the case by reviewing active crimes. We'd like to find people before they're murdered if we can. But, if I can ever help you personally as far as refer you to anybody, you can email me. I've got a lot of contacts still in law enforcement. Alabama has so many of these cases. They're a dime a dozen, unfortunately. Only wish there was enough resources to go around. I agree with you. They do have a lot of cases. But if you go to ALEA, which is the Alabama Law Enforcement Authority, basically, they have a website of active adult missing cases and juvenile missing cases. But I didn't find a huge amount of cases in Alabama.
Read Laura's question.
Thomas, are there any legal or implications when an investigator is named a suspect? Sure. One thing is, if you name the suspect and he has evidence or can cover his crime up, it gives them a heads up. We try not to name the suspect if you don't have to. Now, sometimes they'll name a suspect, but they better be able to prove that why he's a suspect. There's all kinds of stuff you can, you get a lawyer to sue you and all this other stuff. But I think one thing is why you sometimes do that is if you feel like there's going to be a warrant or something pretty soon, they may name that suspect and then they may put some surveillance on him and to see where he goes, what he does, like if he goes back and tries to do something with the body. Because there was a case up around, I want to say it was Arab, Alabama, something I read, where they found a body that had been burned. But what I read about it is they may have even, sometimes they'll kill somebody somewhere else and actually move the body to a different location, especially if they think the body's going to be discovered and they don't want it to be discovered. I don't know where the girl is or even the husband. The weird thing is I put Tracie Kegley's husband, and it gave me a name. But then when I researched that name, he was linked to a different person that was missing. So I don't know if the article had messed that up or not. When I send it to you, you'll be surprised how odd it is and just lucky that she was found. They left her in a ditch that they didn't think she'd be found. Oh, man, I really hate that. I'm sorry for your family had to do that. A lot of people, though, they want the body to be found for whatever reasons, especially if they don't have any. But people don't understand that 20 years ago, DNA really wasn't out there. I mean, it was maybe something people were talking about, that this thing in the future, but they didn't understand it. Juries didn't understand it. And they're just now getting where that it's pretty much accepted now. But yeah, they staged the body. You're right, Captain Mack. Are you law enforcement, retired law enforcement? If you are law enforcement or retired law enforcement, how about sending me an email? Let me know. I like to see other law enforcement, retired law enforcement on the channel. There's so much that I don't know about, things that I'm not familiar with, that other guys have worked crimes and crime scenes that are, and there's any little bit, it helps. But I think the parents really got involved in the second search. They came out to the scene, and they said the mother, I read where she said that, I'm really he's acted through Thomas. I don't understand what you're saying really. But they came out and they kind of put some, I don't know what their status was or whatever, but it really generated some serious trying to find what was going on, trying to find a body, try to find a weapon. But apparently they did recover something, and they really thought that it would lead to an arrest, or at least what I got out of it is they either did two things. Either they thought the evidence would lead to an arrest, or they were trying to generate somebody that would come forward. Because if you have multiple people involved in this, that would indicate to me, by just him commenting, that maybe they think that multiple people may be involved in the disappearance. Because if you tell something, just say there's 4 or 5 people involved in it, and I was the sheriff, and I came out and said, yeah, we found some evidence, and I think we're going to have some arrests. And if anybody knows something about this or involved in this, and you need to get something off your chest, or you need to talk with us before, what I mean? They can maybe they're trying to get somebody to turn against one of the other guys. But so far, that's not happened. Anybody have any other questions? It's something I want to start doing if possible. If you ask me questions, I want to read that question out loud so that I understand it, and maybe somebody that doesn't see it typed can do it. Director of nursing in a prison system. Wow. That is something I know I can never. I don't think I could ever want to work in a prison system for sure. That's pretty dangerous. Pretty dangerous. Rhonda, are you a retiring correctional officer? I tell you what, I couldn't do that. Couldn't do it. Nell's sister was found 11 months later. Not sure about DNA. It would be great if it was. A new genetic detectives are doing a great work to find killers. That is true. They have a show on. I don't know if it's ID or if it's on history or whatever, but I'm learning about Super Chat. I don't know exactly what that is, and I'm gonna research it a little bit and see. And does anybody else have anything that we need to discuss about this particular case? I really, really wish that I had more information on it. It's a very disturbing case to me for the one reason. It's bad enough that we have a young, a beautiful, a professional woman missing. But the worst thing is that it is so many cold cases. The worst thing is you got a 2-year-old girl, a daughter, left in a car on a deserted road overnight. And that is the one thing that I just don't think I just don't think the father would do that. I have a real problem with the father doing that. And if he did he sit down the road and watch the car all night to make sure nobody discovered it? Then wouldn't that be a problem? Because you have police go to these roads, they're looking for parkers, or they go down, especially if there was a business down there. There should have been a sheriff deputy that had rode by this establishment. That's the big thing on third shift. A lot of officers on third shift, when they're not busy, they're supposed to go by and check the businesses and make sure they're not broken into. But I don't know that. I don't know if, let's see, poor woman, poor child, poor family. It's horrible. Who knows? A sweet child could Oh, and I've seen fathers done that. He may not have cared. Yeah, but I don't know. It to me, it's and I have after I tell you what, when I read and saw the stuff on the Chris Watts case, man, I just we were talking about that the other day. How can you kill your children like that? He killed the girl, and the little baby sister said, "Are you, Daddy? Are you going to do to me what you did to Sissy?" Man, I tell you what, if anybody deserves the death penalty, that guy does. Um, maybe that what you said it, or that's exactly why the daughter wasn't hurt. It may be, but here's what you got to, and I'm going back to it again. You leave the daughter in the car. It just let's all right. Just for instance, hypothetically, and I got a lot of hate mail for saying the word hypothetically, but that let's just say that he had somebody take her. He got some people that took her, and they parked the car, or maybe he managed to get her to pull down that road for whatever reason. He may have just put her beside, pull down the road. I got to talk to you, whatever. She pulls down the road, and then they get into it on the side of the road, and he ends up killing her, taking her and putting her in his car. And then he says, well, now I got a problem. He sees a child in the back of the car. So what does he do? He leaves the child. Just think about that now. This is not Milwaukee or New York or California where the weather is not that hot. April in Alabama is hot. We have spring break in mid-March, and people are swimming in the Gulf of Mexico in mid-March. April maybe. I tried to look up. I guess I could have went back through Farmer's Almanac and try to find what the weather was on that day. And I apologize not for doing that. But maybe if somebody's in here, that if you want to, go to Farmer's Almanac and try to look at the weather in 1998, April 1998 in Alabama's weather and see if they can tell. But let's just say the weather is 70 degrees that day. If you shut the car doors in a closed car, in 70 degrees, it will get up to about 80 to 85 degrees, especially in the afternoon. And then at night, it might fall down to maybe 70. Roll Tide, I got you. Hot and humid in Alabama, been there. Yeah, unfortunately, I grew up here, and I actually, and to change the subject real quickly, while maybe somebody's looking that up for me. Okay, I do have somebody looking that up for me. I text a friend of mine in Wisconsin last week, and I said, please tease me about your weather. I said, I'm living on the sun in a steam bath. It was just that hot, but he said it was like 75 degrees, no humidity. So, let's see. Captain Mac, sex abusers. Yeah. A lot. I even did in the Susan Morphew case. When I heard about this case I pulled all the sex offenders' names in Chaffee County. It's a small county, it's pretty rural, but there's like 24 sex offenders in Chaffee County. And then I went to I'd eliminate all the ones associated with the child, because usually those guys they're predatory towards children. And it left about 5. And a couple of them were like in high school type deals. So I eliminated. There's only a couple that I would say they were like rape type areas, but they wasn't anywhere close around where Suzanne was missing. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hard to find. They say Farmer's Almanac it's hard to find. I'm gonna have to do some research on that. We'll see you later, Lee. Lee, I appreciate you stopping by. Have a great evening. That's correct. If someone has another question, suggestion, or a hypothesis towards this thing, I just really, and I know, listen, I know there's some POS husbands and women, mothers even, that do crazy stuff to their kids. But let's just say, what about, let's just say that this person was the loving husband, and for whatever reason, the loving father, and the marriage didn't work out for whatever the reasons are. You know, there's all kinds of reasons that are not, that don't involve abuse and violence and sexual problems with their children and perverted. You know, there's a lot of stuff. But so would a father? Let's assume this guy had a divorce because they're divorced over incompatibility, but it didn't affect the relationship he had with his child. Do you think he could leave that child in that car, a shut up car like that, overnight, that afternoon and overnight by itself on a deserted road? Do you think it, if there's not one, I mean, if there's no relation problem with the children and he's a decent guy, they just had a divorce 16 days earlier, it was final. That's the only thing that kind of drew my attention to him, was 16 days earlier, 16 days earlier. Divorce, custody, big motive, or sexual predator. I agree with that. But like I said, I wish could have found if the child went to live with the father or with the grandparents. That would have been a big red flag if the child grew up with the grandparents instead of the father. And yes, I know that custody is huge. But, and if I could, I guess what I need to do in this case, just to maybe give y'all an update, I need to go back and try to pull the divorce decree. That would be good. I know that's public record in Alabama, and I will try to do that. Have you heard that Suzanne inherited $500,000 and put it into Colorado home? I have not heard that. If nobody has any more questions or suggestions on this one, we'll touch on the Suzanne Morphew case just a little bit. Custody, I think, is a big issue. I'll tell you what, in between now and Wednesday, I'm going to try to see if I can get a copy of her divorce decree. I don't know, being 1998, it may be on microfiche in Montgomery, and I'm not sure, without hiring somebody to go down there and pull it, it may be tough to get. I don't have any friends in Montgomery that are like, I went to law school in Montgomery back in the day, but unfortunately nobody else is down there that I know that would be able to do that for me. Let's talk about Suzanne Morphew case a little bit more. One thing is tube crime. If I was talking about him earlier, he got out on foot. Go and watch him. He has 2 videos back to back together. The first one, he actually takes his dog for a walk, a nice little pup, and he gets out and goes into the motel. And hold on one second. I hear I'll get a complaint about this, but I don't care. Yes, it looks like this case and more cold cases, please. These Susan Morphew and others are getting too much. Yeah, I agree that a lot of times, and that's why I still want to pursue. I still want to, as long as we don't have something hot, heavy on the Morphew case, I still want to pursue putting at least one missing person on every live stream I do. Now, something breaks with Barry and Susan Case, so I'm going to cover it just because I feel invested in that case right now. I really do. But going back to the back part of this, because it's getting close to an hour here, going back to the Susan Morphew case, Tube Crime did an outstanding job. I'm serious, you really need to go look at his channel and watch his other videos. The Draper brothers, they went up to Delphi killings, and there's I get a lot of mail trying to put Barry Morphew in as the Delphi killer. And what I've said is they have DNA up there on that guy. Now, the way I understand it is they've ran the DNA and they haven't found a match. However, they may not have enough DNA to do that, but they probably have enough to eliminate somebody. You take somebody's DNA and you put it right next to that DNA, and you may not have a complete match, but certain factors of that DNA can probably, you can say, I just don't think, it doesn't match these bottom, whatever. I'm not an expert in that, but I think that is something that they can do. Now, sure, he walks with a limp. I heard that he walks with a limp. Is compromised. Somebody said, Mona, you said you think the DNA in the Delphi murders is compromised. I think it is. I don't think it's enough for them to name 100% suspects, but I do think it's enough probably to eliminate somebody. But you think about this. First off, here's what I'm hearing in my mail. Barry Morphew moved from Indiana right after the Delphi murders, and they think that that maybe that's why Suzanne was murdered, because she said something about it. I don't think it is. I've looked at some sketches and some work they've done on those pictures to see if they can narrow it down. And the things I've heard is this guy's they believe it's an older guy. They believe it's a lot older than what Barry would be. I just don't think, I think we're muddy in the water, as I use the terminology a lot, but I think too many people are trying to put a lot of stuff on Barry that's not it. What I think happened in the Suzanne Morphew case is, and this is just my opinion, I think that whatever happened to her happened when she was texting on the phone to her friend, and it ended. And what may have happened is some type of rage came over. Something happened that caused rage to happen, and it was spur of the moment. I don't think anything in that case. I don't think whatever happened. It was planned. I just don't. I think it was one of these things that somebody lost their temper. They did something they are probably sorry for they did right now. But, if just, and, I had tons of people say, please don't say hypothetical. Please don't say hypothetical. But hypothetically, I said, I didn't say hypothetical, I said hypothetically. If maybe she did ask for a divorce, like that girl said at the J for Justice. Now, I bet you I had 100 emails that said, don't listen to J for Justice. J stands for justice, that she's inaccurate. She said all this other stuff. Listen, I never said any of this information was true. I'd never said anything. In fact, I posted something at the bottom to say, judge it on face value. But you know what? When you get information like that, you just can't put it in your pocket. You got to put it out there. And first off, I did not know when this video happened. Somebody said this happened maybe back in June when this girl went on there. But I know that J for Justice put out a thing on her thumbnail that said the body's found. which was totally false. And a lot of times people put stuff on their thumbnail to get people to come. And I hope I never do that. I hope I don't do that, because I don't want people to come and see me and listen to me just because of something on my thumbnail. If I put something on my thumbnail, I believe that it's something I need to address. Now, this girl comes on there. She gets on this podcast, and she puts it out there. Now, I don't know if they named her last name or not, but they showed her picture. So, but I think it's like clickbait. Exactly. That's the word I was looking for. Clickbait. And I hope I never do that. Call me out if I do, because I don't want to do that. That's not what this is all about. Do I want 100,000 subscribers? Absolutely. Does you pay a little bit for that? Absolutely. But does it cost to do these things? Absolutely. I've spent about $500 this month on this channel, and lights and a whole bunch of other stuff and software. And I'm not out here trying to beg money from y'all or setting up anything right. Will I have Patreon sometime in this channel? Maybe. Will I have super chats? If I can ever figure out how to do it. But am I begging you for money? No. Because right now, it's not the right time to ask anybody for money. The economy's, the COVID's out there. People are losing their jobs. At least I have a retirement. You know what I mean? So, but if YouTube, this multi-billion-dollar company, wants to pay me a little bit of money for doing this, I'll take their money. I mean, I don't want to ask you for your money right now. Okay? Super chat, I'd have to figure out how to do super chat, Lori. I really, be honest with you, I'm not that technically smart in that area right now. Yeah, I'm not gonna beg for money, Cat Mac. I'll quit this channel before I start begging for money. What I will do in the future, and I'm gonna just be very honest with you, if I can figure out how to do super chats, I may do that every once in a while. If I do have a Patreon page later on, I may do that, but it's gonna be later on. I think probably if you have 30, 40, 50,000 subscribers and you want to do that, and there's other people that maybe want to support you that way, that's fine. But I'll never come out and say, listen, guys, I need $100 or $200 or $300 this month, and it really would do. I'm just not going to do it. It's not my personality. I've thought about doing, I don't know how, somebody brought this up to me. They said you ought to have a podcast that you use your videos from here, take your voice and put it on a podcast, and let some people sponsor your podcast. I don't know. That's something. I don't know how that would work really. Yeah, and I said this last week, and somebody sent me some hate mail, but I'm gonna say it again. I didn't do this stuff for the money. I didn't do this channel for the money. Doing it 3 days a week is a challenge sometimes. Today we rushed home from Tennessee because we left 2 hours with the 2 hours to get here, and we barely made it. I mean, I ran in here like a minute to go to put it, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the channel, but and I'm looking forward to 5,000. That's my goal by the end of the year. I think I'll be there. Last time I said that, I was there in my goal in 2 days, because a lot of people shared my goal. But about 75% of the people that watch this channel do not subscribe, and that's YouTube analytics tell me that. So if you look at that, 75% of the people do not subscribe. And that is just the way it is, But anyway, we are going to continually follow the Morphew case just because I feel like I'm invested in it. But they are like 600,000 to 800,000 children go missing in the U.S. every year. I said NamUs is something that I want y'all to go on, if you would. Go on NamUs and register. There's cases out there all over the United States. Now, when somebody disappears, a police department usually puts it in NamUs. And NamUs is a national database of missing people, unidentified bodies, all kinds of stuff. But police actually have a greater access to NamUs. They can actually look at a lot of stuff, autopsies, everything. On NamUs, you can't do that as a civilian. You're just going to be able to track your cases you're following. You're going to be able to look at circumstances of the case. And it's, yes, right, Cat Mac, that's exactly right, NamUs. It's free, totally free. And what I've been doing, they put runaways on there too. And I read somewhere that 1 out of every 6 people that are missing are not runaways. So, they have a bunch of people on there that are runaways. And so, I don't think this, if it's suspicious circumstances, we'll try to feature them. But right now, I ran it the other day, this year, 19,000 people, adults, missing in the U.S. And just the NamUs portion of it, there's probably a whole lot more that are missing that didn't ever get put in there, or maybe they're not reported. Like, for instance, this other case out of Elmore County, and I'm just going to touch on this. I'm not going to name names yet because I didn't get into it. But let me just tell you what this guy did. And I feel sure it's the ex-husband that probably has something to do with it. Didn't report her for a month. Did not report her for a month. The family didn't know she's missing for 4 months. The neighbor to this guy said that he took all of the furniture out of the house and burned it. The couches, the kids' beds, and burned it. Took the floor up in the kitchen and burned the whole floor. He's trying to get rid of evidence, guys. That's exactly what he was doing. They found blood. They didn't find enough because he had cleaned it for 3 solid days with bleach. And it's like I commented, somebody sent me an email saying, if they've used bleach in the house, then, wait a minute, I'm stopping here. The case of something, Geis is bizarre. Hey, Mona, you send me an email on that case? I will look it up. But anyway, he bleached the floor like 3 or 4 days. And then when they finally, he pulled all the floor up in the kitchen, burned it in a barrel behind his house. Finally, when the police did get out there and did get a search warrant for the house, he had replaced all the wood floor in his kitchen. And they did find some blood in the house, but it was so manipulated because of the bleach, they wasn't able to establish DNA. So there is no doubt in my mind that he has something to do with this. Crazy, absolutely crazy. He felt like that he was going to get caught, so he burned everything just about in the whole house. Why the police did not come out there and investigate this when they saw the neighbors reporting burning beds, the clothing, the mattresses, the floor, you know what I mean? I can't understand that. But that by the time they got out there, it was too late. But we may examine that case later on, but it's going to be pretty much, in my opinion, he's the number one suspect in this. So, what is the email? It's going across the bottom of the screen. That is my email right there. At the bottom of the screen, the missinglivestream@gmail.com. That's all that is at the bottom of the screen. Oh, what's the, I'm sorry, I apologize. You wonder what NamUs is? Yeah, NamUs is the actual site. Somebody said namus.gov. Okay, y'all still with me? I got out of it there, and I for whatever reason it shut down. I should have did it a different way. Yeah, Ruh was right. But anyway, NamUs is a good thing to look at. It does have a lot of stuff, and when you're in NamUs, say you search for a person, and yeah, I know you're behind me. You search for a person, and it comes up a name that's missing, and what happens is you'll see at the bottom several people, like if especially longer, say you search for somebody that's missing 20 years ago. I Captain Mac, what I did was I went over to look at NamUs, and I had to re-enter the live stream again, so it kind of threw myself off. I needed to find another better way to do that. But you'll look down at the bottom, you'll search a name, say they're missing 20 years ago. At the bottom, it'll say cases or bodies that have been found and been eliminated from being that person. So it kind of gives you an idea that other police departments, like say you had a person that was missing. One of the cases, for instance, was Tiffany Daniels that I featured on here. Down below it, it had a couple of bodies that had been found in Florida, unidentified bodies that had been eliminated from being her. So I don't know if they ever found DNA, because if a girl, say a mama comes up missing, or a female comes up missing, to get her DNA, if they don't have her DNA, they're going to have to test her father to get the DNA. And if I remember when my wife went to run her stuff on Ancestry.com, her father had to get his DNA entered into the system for her to be able to look up our parental side of the family. I don't know, it was something about that, but that's what it is. I will look into a couple of you talked about Super Chat. I will look into that. I don't know exactly how it was. I just got our LLC done on our channel to protect us and our assets from anything that might come out of this live stream. So, and I would tell Two Crime and all these other guys to do the same thing, because people like to sue for whatever reason, and if they think they can get blood out of a turnip, go ahead. It's just not, I'm not rich by any means. I know that somebody else, Tom, set up on Super Chat. Yeah, that would be nice. I tell you, if you email me, if you tell me where I need to go, but I promise you, I'm gonna look at it. I'll look at it tomorrow. We have to go into our business tomorrow, and we're actually have our business for sale, and we're actually gonna get out of our business by the end of the year. And
says you have assets.
Yeah, I have assets. Let me see my computer.
Your puppy?
My puppy, yeah. I'm not giving up my dogs, so I tell you what, there'd be a sure enough fight if I get up my dogs. But what we are going to sell our business by the end of the year, and a new chapter in our life will start, and we will share that hopefully the end of the year with everybody. And if you'd like to know more about us personally and our family at that time, I'm just going to say that you will have full access if you want it. So I will share that information later on, though. Good things are coming your way. I hope so. If I can just stay healthy and family stay healthy and stay happy and the channels stay good, and hey, I'll be a happy camper.
Denise said keep the dogs.
Love my dogs, love my puppies, love my wife, love my life, and I absolutely love this channel. Every one of you, even the people that give me hate mail, degrade them. I laugh at them. It's just a very good laugh. Well, listen, I'm gonna go. If something breaks out on,
I'm sorry.
excuse me, if something breaks out on any of the cases we are working, I'm going to. I'll come back and do it. I appreciate it if you're not subscribed that you subscribe. I'm gonna try to let you show you one of my dogs here. Come here, Maggie. Come here. Let me put down this minute. Come here, Maggie. Come here.
Come
Come here.
Come on.
Come here, baby. Come here.
Back up. Look, Maggie.
Come here, Maggie. Come here.
Come here.
You every other time. Hey, come here. Come here. Oh,
Come on, baby.
come here. Oh, oh.
Can you get
I
it?
can't do it. Hold on a minute. All right. This is Maggie.
Maggie.
Oh, this is Maggie, our lab. Maggie, come here. Turn around here. Look at the camera.
Maggie.
Look at this. Oh.
She said, forget it.
She says, no, any other time, this dog would be all over me. But I think she's been traveling in the car for the last couple of hours, and I think she is not wanting to be cooperative. But she's 2.5 years old, and I think y'all seen my little one. Come here, Gracie. Gracie, come here. We actually have the lab. We have a, come here, Gracie. Yeah, now Maggie's jealous. She come over here. This is Gracie. She is 10 years old. She's a Yorkie Chihuahua.
Born on the 4th of July.
Born on the 4th of July. She's an American dog. But we have a cat, black cat named Moses also. But Moses, he's outside right now. But anyway, thanks for subscribing. And yeah, Sheila, I hear you. She said War Eagle. If anybody, y'all don't know, Alabama has 2 major universities. They have a whole lot of universities in Alabama, but 2 major college football universities. It's Auburn that have War Eagle and Alabama that has Roll Tide. So it's always, football season is always very contentious, to say the least. Okay, guys, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming tonight and stopping by and putting up with me. And if you have anything, email me. I love hearing from you. If I can answer your questions, I will. I've had some great emails. Really, I've had some awesome information that we're going to look into and we're going to discuss. And if you got a case you think that I need to feature, email me. I promise you, I may not feature it the next time, but I will. I want to be prepared, and I apologize for not preparing today much more than I could. I rushed in here. Honestly, I had like 2 minutes to get everything set up. So I do appreciate it. And like I said, I always end this thing with about 20 seconds of my outros so that YouTube can put some stuff in for other people that watch this later on that will maybe help support the channel. So do appreciate every one of you. God bless you, and y'all stay well and stay safe, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Thanks again so much.